Hi, I'm John Timmerman, and Jason Lee Scott is the most powerful Power Ranger ever, hands down.
I'm Rob Schauger. I am serious.
Where are you looking?
Don't call me Shirley.
Where are you looking?
I'm looking.
Let's do that one again.
And I'm Al Kutri, and I was once hit by a school bus.
And we are the founders of the No Bull Company.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Today's episode is brought to you by Uncle Clen's Instant Rice. On the run rice packets that can't be beat. We bring a whole new meaning to on the run.
What's up, Buzz Nation? Welcome to I'm a Little Buzzed, the show where we bring a ridiculous amount of life to business, all while sharing a glass of whatever makes you happy and gets you buzzed. Fellas, what's getting you buzzed right now?
I'm super excited about this new line of hand sanitizers that has different scents.
Hey.
Because I'm sick and tired of smelling like I drank the whole bottle of bourbon.
But you did drink the whole bottle of bourbon.
Don't judge me, John.
Speaking of that, that's what gets me buzzed.
You got enough there? Are you good?
Enough for my entire body. Weird. Like, I agree with you. I've had a few. We go to Racket Lake every weekend.
Maybe it's good for the mosquitoes, though.
Not the mosquitoes up there, apparently. But there's a few up there that have smelled really, really great. And I'm on the fence because, like, you put it on, and you know how it has, like, this little film? Some of them have, like, this little, like something
greasy?
to it. Yeah. I feel like the flavors. if you're drinking it, that is. The scents add a little bit of that, and where it's not like that, like,
clean,
burned all the stuff off your hand clean. So
Yeah.
I'm on the fence. I agree with you 50%, but 50% is like, I need that alcohol smell where, like
you know that all germs are dead.
gone,
Right.
vaporized, incinerated off of my hands.
Pulverized.
Yes, pulverized, all the ized.
I am no longer buzzed about this one.
Why?
Because I think I went a little too heavy on it.
Oh, just now?
Just now?
Just because you used a half a gallon.
Well,
Here,
and now
let's see what we
now-
think of
now,
I don't know what it's called. A1 Naturals.
Scent free. Oof. It's bullshit.
Breathe
it's not
it in
scent
right
free.
after you rub it in and breathe
It's
it right
got
away.
a freaking scent.
Immediately.
wow.
It's like smelling a freaking Maker's Mark. Look, as long as
If
it
I-
does the job,
If I had COVID, I think it just burned it out just now.
dude,
I don't know.
Which I don't. I tested
your
my-
eyes are watering.
All right.
I don't like it.
Well, we know what gets Rob buzzed now.
Wow.
That
All right,
just got me
so
buzzed. That just got me buzzed.
Hercules.
It's damn close.
Al, what's getting you buzzed right now?
Well, it was
Not
that.
eating.
It
Not
was
eating
that.
all day
Yeah, I
gets you
didn't
buzzed.
eat all day.
Again?
And I'm in fasting mode again. And it's not intentional.
It's an unintentional
But I'm
fasting.
going to need a granola bar soon.
It's still
Good,
there.
we have them.
I'm gonna
We
need-
could get you some perfect granola.
I am not.
We'll ask Michelle if she
Yeah.
can hook us up with
That's
some
why I
granola.
didn't
So Al
quite hit
doesn't
the
pass
wine
out.
yet. Yeah, I'm not going to pass out. I'm going to be just fine.
Listen, all we have to do is waft this under his nose. He'll
Yeah,
jump up out
like
of a
smelling
dead sleep.
salts.
Boom.
Yes,
Yes.
I feel good.
What's getting me buzzed right now? Just the weather. Like, it's hot. It's very hot in our studio right now. But just the nice weather. I am actually buzzed about the fact that the weather people have been consistently wrong about raining for like this entire month. This 4-week span.
Well, there's
has
been
been-
so many pop-ups. Like, you drive a mile down the road and it could be a downpour right now. Like, what do you mean it rained last night?
I've been missing all those pop-ups then.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know.
But that's
So I'm buzzed about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm buzzed about? There's a fourth.
Oh, you got
thing.
two? You got
I
two.
got one more. That 4th of July is over.
What?
Yeah, and here's why.
Uh-oh.
Because
Careful.
because
bring
my,
it back. Bring it
my-
back.
Yeah, my neighbors. My neighbors.
2 weeks straight of fireworks.
What seems to be, they must know how to make fireworks from scratch because they have an endless supply of fireworks that they let off in the middle of the night always. And I'm like, all right, I see what's happening here. Like 4th of July is coming, but like now 4th of July is over.
Yeah.
I shouldn't hear any more fireworks. It's over
You-
until next.
You're like a
I'm a-
71-year-old in
Yeah.
a how old are you?
35
35-year-old body. Yeah.
Yep.
like 52
Crotchety
year old
old
body.
miserable bastard. Yep.
Like reality is 35-year-old body.
Yeah,
like physiology 55, 56.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
like AARP body.
Yeah.
Feel.
And mental is like 71.
Mental is 71. Archie just terrible on my porch, like.
Are you on
dick.
your rocking chair in your porch with like a
Archie
broom
Bunker.
handle going bam, bam, bam?
Yeah.
Or no, your walker.
I'm
Get
just
off my
like,
lawn.
I just bitch quietly in my house, but I'm also not the guy that's like, I'm not going to call the cops. I'm not going to file a complaint. I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to bitch to you guys about it.
I hope that your neighbors are not watching the show.
They definitely are.
Okay.
I assure you they're not. They think I make porn. They're not going to watch it.
They see the purple light.
Yeah, and they're like, I'm not watching him in a porn, ever.
Nope. We've seen him outside go to get his mail.
Yeah.
No,
No, I
thanks.
need to see that
Nobody
again.
wins there.
Fail.
Today's show, we have the buzzworthy, amazing human being, Michele Liddle. Michele is the founder and CEO of Perfect Granola, a granola and granola bar company based in upstate New York that exploded into the market in 2016 due to its success with retail such as Wegmans, Walmart, Kroger, ShopRite, and others. She started the company on the foundation of giving back and sharing profits with homeless shelters, outreach shelters, outreach centers, and food banks. But that's just one of the very many ways the company gives back. They really do give back in so many different ways, as you guys will hear in today's interview. Their mission is simple, but challenging. Great food for a greater good, and strive to create ways to bring regions out of poverty to end the cycle of hunger. Buzz Nation, please welcome Michele Liddle. Hey, Michele.
Hey guys,
How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Well, before we get into the core of the show and business talk, we have a nice little segment called the Pregame. Al, tell us what the Pregame is.
The pregame is a no-filter, free association game, pregame. And I'm a little buzzed sometimes when we do it, so if I slur or I, don't say it right away, just bear with me. I ask a question, first thing comes out of your mouth, that's the answer. No thinking.
Sure.
Ready? Regular fries, curly fries. You see what just happened? Curly fries or waffle fries?
Waffle.
Favorite magazine?
Men's Health.
Ah! First thing you do when you wake up?
Take the dog out.
Camping or beaches?
Beaches.
Oh, same. How do you take your eggs?
Over easy.
Fill in the blank. 2020 is
COVID.
ketchup or mustard?
Ketchup.
Last purchase you made?
Dog collar.
Greatest advice you've ever received?
Fail fast.
Worst advice you've ever received?
Fast.
Yes, again. Favorite color and why?
Favorite color. Ooh, purple. Because it is calming.
Lovely. And I love the purple wall. Favorite Golden Girl?
Betty White.
That's it.
Boom.
Boom.
Awesome. Okay,
Easy.
well, Michele, now is the time, or Buzz Nation, now is the time when we cheers to our guest and something ridiculous. So cheers to you, Michele, to life, love, lots of laughter, and Cookie Crisp cereal, which was actually just chocolate chip cookies and milk, but for breakfast, huge win.
Score.
It
Cheers.
was a huge win.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Michele. Okay, Michele, we have lots of questions. We want to learn so much more about the Perfect Granola, its history, it's your startup story, you're juggling life with all of that, and your ability to inject a mission into your business. But before we do that, can you give our audience, can you give Buzz Nation an overview of what the Perfect Granola is?
Sure. So obviously, Perfect Granola, we are a granola and granola bar manufacturer, but I don't consider myself a granola company. We are a mission-based company, which means everything that we do from every angle has to be mission first. If it's not, the answer is a no. So we make sure that we share profits with homeless shelters, outreach centers, and food banks. We hire at-risk youth with a partnership with Hillside Work Scholarship Connection. We manufacture our single-serve allergy-free line at a Feeding America food bank so we can expand their workforce development training program and offer sustainable revenue for the organization. And we make huge donations to food shelters and outreach centers throughout the U.S.
Love it.
Fantastic. So the startup story is always something that's attractive to people watching and people listening who are in business, whether you're an employee at a company or you're a startup founder yourself. Super interesting to us. So can you talk about that? What were you doing before the idea came to you? And then what did that transition of like this was an idea that's actually going to happen? What did that look like for you?
Sure. So products that had a lot of allergens in them, and they weren't ultimately super healthy. So while I was volunteering there, I just thought, hey, if I want to be able to support people who are homeless, I need to come up with a way that's not monetary, because I didn't have a lot of extra money. We were a young family at the time with 2 young girls. So I just decided at that time I would start a side hustle, start a granola and granola bar company, and then just give everything away. Everything that I made, it would just go right back out the door. All the profits, anything that came in would just go back out. And then I slowly found out that this could actually be a company and a product that people would want to buy. And then I also realized if I give everything away, I'm not going to stay in business very long. So I scaled back the donations slightly just so we could actually continue the company running. And we kind of kept that same model. We keep only as much as we need to keep the company sustained, and then everything else goes back out the door. And currently now we launched in June of 2016. So we've been out in the market just about 4 years now. And we're one of the fastest growing granola bar companies in the Northeast. We sell across 48 states, and we supply hundreds of food banks and outreach centers products. And we also give monetary donations to homeless shelters and different outreach programs.
Wow.
It's incredible.
Was this it's always just the founder at first, right? So give us your hindsight tips on how you juggled starting a business, developing the product, but also balancing giving back. What in hindsight, what would you do differently, and what did you do to try to juggle all those different things? Because it's not just one business. Now you're basically a business with a little bit of a nonprofit, while starting this whole thing up.
Yeah, one thing that I always made sure of, and that we continue to do, is that it's mission first. Absolutely every decision that gets made within the company has to have a mission-based component to it. So it's really simple as far as our business is concerned to, kind of make decisions, because if it's not going to help people ultimately or support our mission to support homeless shelters or people living in poverty, then it's a simple answer. It's no. We have to make sure that our mission is always first and foremost. But in the beginning, it was super difficult. I continued to work full time for the first year and a half of running this company. Ended up picking up a part-time job so I could continue to put food on the table for my kids. At the time, my kids were 1 and 5, so they were definitely very needy and hands-on at that time. So it was just, it was really, really difficult to juggle everything. And then finally last year, 2019, I hired my first employee. It was January of 2019. So for the first couple of years, it was just me doing all the day-to-day, even doing some of the deliveries. But one of the things that I would really recommend to people, and I didn't listen to it at all, I totally maybe should have, but that's not the way I work, is don't grow too fast. When we got our account with Wegmans, we chose a very large distributor. And I always say we, even though it was just me in the beginning, because I don't view this as my company. I view it as our company. I'm growing it for the community, not for myself. I still don't take a paycheck. But, I picked a really large distributor, and to them, I was a nobody. And we still are. We're a super micro company. I mean, we have good distribution, but in the grand scheme of things, we're a small company. So I chose a really large distributor thinking that I could grow super fast with them. And I almost put myself out of business because we were growing too fast. And I did not have the cash flow in place to continue to take orders and turn inventory and buy the packaging that I needed and figure out the logistics behind it, because I wasn't in the food industry prior to this. I was selling industrial electric motors for a motor manufacturer, but it was outside of this industry, and it was something that was very different. So I've been learning everything as I go. And that's why before, I heard a great piece of advice: fail fast, because the more time you spend on your failures trying to make the failure right, the more money and time you're losing. So, if it's not working, jump ship as fast as you can, stop the bleeding, and move on, and try to pivot to something that's going to be a little bit easier and a little bit more successful for your company.
Nice. Great advice.
Yeah, I think, I heard Jeff Bezos say this the other day. I was watching an interview, and he was saying, there's a calling, there's a career, and there's a job. And really, when you have a calling, right, that's the only thing one of the only things that can get you through the discomfort of the multiple failures and obstacles that come. Because if it's not that kind of a passion or that kind of a calling, you'll quit. Anybody would quit. Any normal human would be like, screw this. This is impossible.
Yep.
So that's a real testament to the mission, the calling, and anybody that's in that position.
Oh yeah, the thought has crossed my mind almost daily. It's like, why am I doing this? But then every time we're able to make a donation or hire another person or support another student with our student program, then everything it comes full circle and it makes it all worth it. So there's no quitting in sight. That's definitely not what we're in store for. So, we just kind of continue on every day.
Amen.
And Michelle, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but were you handling all this as a single mom, or were you married?
I am now a single mom. I'm going through a divorce right now, actually, which is one of the happiest times in my life.
Okay.
But
congratulations.
Cheers.
I know. But I mean, ultimately, it was definitely, just kind of me building this company in the beginning and making the choices and the decisions that we needed to make to move forward.
Well, I ask because I think that resonates and is going to resonate with a lot of people listening. That's like, oh my gosh, I could never do this. Well, bull. Like,
right.
Here's a lady here basically doing everything on her own, raising two little girls, working a full-time job, working a part-time job, starting a company. I mean, those are the things that inspire people today that, like, holy crap, like, how on earth did she do that? And that's so
and I always tell people, you can do whatever you actually want to. I mean, you find the time to do things that you want.
Yep.
I was a trainer at a gym for a few years and people are like, oh, I don't have the time. I'm like, you have the time if you want it.
Yeah. Everyone's got the same 24 hours.
I picked up a part-time job as a cycling instructor because I found that I was having less time working full-time and building this company and with the kids, but I still wanted to work out. So I picked up a part-time job as a cycling instructor to continue doing that daily activity.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Were you giving back right from the get-go? Like,
absolutely, 100%. The first batches that we made, I didn't even sell. We just gave them away.
And then what about from a monetary standpoint or from a hiring standpoint? Because I know we'll probably get into that and you can talk about that a little bit more. But were you also giving back in those capacities right from the get-go?
Yeah. Yep.
That's awesome.
Every aspect, monetary and our food, was going right out the door in the beginning. And now we do the same thing. I mean, we've got 6,000 pounds of granola going out the door tomorrow to support Free Store Food Bank in Ohio and Feeding America Food Bank in North Carolina.
Al, what did you say Bezos said? Calling?
There's a calling, a career, and a job.
And a job,
and he's
right?
Like, a job is a job. If you get a career, he's like, many people don't even get that. They get the job and then they stay there.
Right.
There's getting a career, that's still a minority position in terms of most people don't even get to the career piece.
Yeah.
And getting to that top tier of a calling, that if you found that, he said that's magic. That's if you can get to your calling, that's the magic.
Do you feel so? I take this from, and this is a question for, I guess, for all of us here, but Gary Vaynerchuk says that he feels that entrepreneurs are born, they're not created, right? So I'll start with you, Michelle. Do you feel like you were always meant to find your purpose and run with it no matter what? Was there something that happened? And stemming off of that, why was it mission-based and not money-based or building the biggest building in the city based? Do you have a feeling as to where that came from? I
do. I mean, I truly believe everybody was put on this earth for a reason. And I think that my whole past, even though I was selling motors, I think that entire pathway in my professional career led me to this. And this is truly what I am supposed to be doing. 100%. I mean, it is my deal. And I think if you're lucky enough to find something like I have, you're not working. I mean, I don't ever feel like I'm working. I feel like I'm doing what I want to be doing. And it's a good feeling. It really is. And I've never really been one that likes authority and likes being told what to do. I always had a problem with that. I never really did well in school. I could never follow directions. I could never show up on time. I was kind of always, going to the beat of my own sound. So now I'm able to, and I'm able to be as flexible as I can and want to be, and still enjoy the things that I love doing, but still find time to run this company successfully and grow it.
I love it. Actually, that brings up a really good, we're in the middle of summer here, and summer in upstate New York, you have nice weather. Thankfully, we've had some great weather. It's super hot today, and we're all dying here off of this little AC. But you just mentioned finding times to do the things you love with growing what you want. Are you the type of person, we asked this actually in an episode earlier, it was like one of the rapid fire questions where it was
work, play, or work, play, play.
It was the Iconic, the founders of Iconic, they're a big art company. And it was just that. Are you the work, play type person, or are you work, play forever?
I do it all. So on Thursday last week, I had a couple of hours without the girls. They were over at their father's house. I took my kayak out on Canandaigua Lake,
Awesome.
Kayaked out to the middle, and then pulled my phone out and did some emails.
That's fantastic.
So it's a little bit of everything. And then I was texting a couple of our customers saying, hey, what can I help you with over the weekend? What do you need? I'm sitting here on the lake with a beer in hand on my kayak and, was thinking about you. So it's definitely, I don't feel like I'm ever working. I absolutely love it. Even when I'm at my warehouse and I'm hauling pallets and getting shipments out and stuff, I kind of consider that as part of my workout for the day, and blare some music. And, it's really about that balance. So even when I am working and maybe somebody would say, oh, it's 10 o'clock at night and you're in, doing emails in your office. Well, I'm doing emails with a glass of wine and I've got music going and it's fine, or I take my computer out on the deck and enjoy the sunset while I'm working on stuff, so I don't ever really feel like I'm working. But I'm definitely one to play hard. I love kayaking and biking and running, and, now we've got a little puppy that we go hiking with. So, definitely play first, but, there's always time for work.
Well, you're testament to the fact that you can grow something while still enjoying life, right? Mm. I mean, I feel like maybe for the past decade or so, there's been this hustle culture, right? They call it hustle porn, where like social media is all about work. Right.
Grind. All these sacrifices. Don't do this. Don't do that.
14 hours a day.
That's not true.
And or sustainable. Or sustainable, right? I bit that bug early on in my entrepreneurship career, where I thought if I was taking time off, I literally felt guilty. Mm-hmm. I literally felt bad, and I felt worse than when I was working. So I'm like, oh man, I must just be a workaholic. But then after I matured a little bit in my entrepreneurship career, where I settled into where you are, Michelle, which is, listen, I can take time off, and number one, that's going to recharge me to be even better when I do go back. Number two, what's the point of working so hard if you can't go enjoy smell the roses, so to speak? Now I have a family, so now that's even exponentially, the case. But did you kind of start that way? I get the sense, I should say, that you started like, fuck it, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do, and I'm going to grow this thing, and I'm still going to kayak, and I'm still going to do that. Or did you start out saying,
like, actually, no, John, that's not
I need to work all the time, and then you sort of settled into it like I did?
Now, listen, the first year and a half, I told you, I worked full-time, a part-time job, and built this company. So the first year and a half, it was work all day, every single day.
No
Weekends
play.
Were filled with trying to catch up on things that I couldn't do over the week, because I would work my normal job until 5 or 6 o'clock at night, have dinner for the girls, bedtime, baths and everything, get them in bed, and then go back into my office to run this company and start building it. Mm. And there's still times to this day where we're signing on a new distributor right now that's going to help us out with our Walmart account. There's things that need to get done. You've got to fill out your vendor paperwork and make sure that you're synced up with their EDI system and stuff. So there's certainly times when you have to focus and get shit done. But, it is nice now having the flexibility. But that first year and a half was really, really tough. But I knew that I couldn't just quit my job. I still needed to provide for my family, put food on the table, pay our mortgage, my car payments, all of those things still needed to happen. And I needed to fund this company, because let's face it, women entrepreneurs, we get 2.8% of VC funding.
Yep.
We're not funded. Nobody gives a shit about granola, especially not a mission-based granola company. We're not, we haven't been lucky enough to find the right investor that, aside from, some of the other things in the competitions that we've won, but, we're not venture backed, especially not in the beginning when we were not proven. So, it was work all the time so I could consistently fund the company's growth as well.
I think everybody would probably love to know, how does one land an account with Wegmans and Walmart within 4 years?
Cold calls. So I am a huge proponent. So everyone calls me the anti-millennial because I hate technology. I don't understand why people buy things online. And I like to pick up the phone and call people. And I always have a pencil in my hair when I'm working and a pad of paper. So if I can't find a pencil, there's usually a crayon somewhere that I can write notes on. So you pick up the phone and you send sample boxes out, and I don't know who to call, but I Google whatever corporate number I can find, and I ask, who's in charge of the purchasing for granola and granola bars? And most of the time you get hung up on, but sometimes they'll direct you to somebody, or you just send a sample box. Wegmans was super helpful because Wegmans is just amazing. They're a local company too. They support local entrepreneurship because we're mission based, and Wegmans does so much with Food Link and the shelters and stuff around here. They were apt to open up a meeting for me, so I was able to sit down with the buyer, and he was absolutely fantastic and put us in all the stores right away. And then Walmart, we went down as part of Open Call. So I applied for Open Call in 2018. We were accepted. And then when I had a meeting with the buyer, he said yes right on spot and gave us 1,000 stores that day. But then when he was actually setting his planogram, he decided to bump that up to 2,000 stores.
Wow.
And now we've been consistently growing with Walmart as well. Kroger, we went down with the Diversity Summit because obviously I'm a woman and I have a women-owned business. So went down for the Diversity Summit, won that, and won an account with Kroger. They started us with 1,000 stores. So we've been really lucky to, be accepted into some of these programs. And then last year we were a Stacey's Rise finalist. So now we're working with PepsiCo and Frito-Lay, and we won Grow New York as well. So that was very helpful with a little bit of funding, mentorship, to kind of fuel some of our growth.
Do you feel that the give back component of what you're doing makes a big difference when you're approaching these stores like that?
I think it does. I think it would make anybody feel good.
Yeah.
If you're buying a product and that company is supporting something that you're passionate about, and why wouldn't you want to support them? Especially knowing that, we can truly show what we're actually doing. Some charities and stuff, they, kind of hide behind closed doors, but we don't. We share everything that we're doing. We make sure that is always first and foremost.
Can you share with us the story with your students and like hiring the students and having them go to work and all how that works as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. So it became apparent after I started this company. My kids, like I said, they were 1 and 5. So my 5-year-old was just starting to enter kindergarten and the school systems. So I started thinking and seeing graduation rates. And here in the upstate New York area, and especially Rochester, at that time, our graduation rates were 52% for our kids in Rochester. Buffalo is around that same number. Syracuse is a little bit higher. I think they were around like 62%. But, overall, we've got half of our kids pretty much are not graduating high school, and they're already living below the poverty line. So I was starting to think, like, how do we fix poverty and hunger, right? Like, if you are living in poverty, you don't have enough money for healthy food. So you land on the food pantries and, you rely on nutrition programs at schools. So I started to think, like, how can I get to these kids that are probably not going to graduate and give them a chance, teach them things that they are not learning in school. So we partnered with Hillside Work Scholarship Connection in 2018, and we started hiring students to do our demos. Because we also knew from experience with working with Wegmans for a couple of years that we had a really high retention rate for the customers that were purchasing our products. They were becoming loyal to our brand. So all we needed to do was drive trial. And a really good way to do that at the supermarket is to do demos and have sampling events. And I thought, instead of me doing it or hiring an events group, let's hire students, because now we are teaching the students hygiene, responsibility. They built their own schedules because I was very strict on them. If they did not show up for school and they were not passing all of their grades, even gym, they were not allowed to come to work with me. I made sure that school was number one, and I checked their grades, and I made sure that I also went to their football games and their basketball games and supported them on an emotional level, because I wanted to make sure that they were still putting school and sports first before their job. If they were meeting all of their needs there, they were given the opportunity to work with us, because that's how I view it. It's not a job. This is an opportunity, because I am teaching you customer service, sales. We set them up with banking programs. They go into a bank. They learn overdraft protection and savings and how to get direct deposit with their paychecks, because these are skills that they're not learning in school. And if they don't graduate, I want to make sure that they're set up for success. If they land a job with me and they stay with me for the rest of their career doing demos, that's not good enough. I want them to fail with me, learn life lessons, and then leave me behind and go and find something better. So we had some really good success in the Syracuse and Rochester area with that program. Unfortunately, now, due to the pandemic, they're not doing sampling events in grocery stores. So hopefully when they bring that back, we're going to be able to bring our students back, because the only jobs that we have right now are full-time jobs, and that's not good enough. They need to be focusing on school and not really work at this point in their lives, because we hire them anywhere between 16 and 18 years old before they are finished with high school.
And how many students were you hiring pre-COVID, like on a monthly basis?
Yeah, we had 4 in the Syracuse area that we started with, and we started with just 1 in the Rochester area, because he was fantastic. He had a lot of open hours on the weekends. He was always punctual and showing up on time. And he's actually gone on, and now he graduated high school this past year. So he's going to be going on to college and playing football.
That's awesome. How do you have all the emotional capacity for all of this? Like, we're getting into the life portion. The show is built on life and business, right? We bring a little life to business. So, I want to pivot to that, because all these business podcasts and articles and us, we talk about the business, the tactics, startups, all this kind of stuff. But you hear less about the side, that we've talked about in the past, like depression and anxiety and dealing with all of this, and parenting while you're a founder. Like, all of this stuff it kind of slides under the radar a little bit. So, can you share at all just your emotional journey to dealing with all of this, as a parent or just as a person?
It's super overwhelming. Everybody that really truly knows me knows I cry all the time, like daily, for various reasons. Sometimes I'm just happy. Sometimes I don't even know why I'm crying, and I wish it was because I was sad or something. But no, it's very overwhelming. Especially because we're mission based. I feel emotionally connected to our employees and our students. I just want to, some of our students that we were hiring, I just wanted to hug and bring home with me and give them a better life. These are kids that, had tough home lives and not a lot of support. So it really, really is overwhelming. As far as on the business side of things, I think one thing that people don't really talk about a lot is the loneliness of running a company.
100%.
Not a lot of people truly understand the amount of stress and anxiety and that feeling when you're waking up at 2 a.m. to throw up because there's so much pressure. And it was a lot of pressure in the beginning, but then once we started hiring people, we've got 5 full-time employees now, which is still super small, but for us it's a lot, only being in business for a few years. But to know that now their livelihood relies on me and our company and the success of this company. They rely on their paychecks and their health benefits, and they're looking towards me for their future. In having those hard talks, another thing too is I'm always very upfront and honest when I'm going to bring somebody onto this team and hire them and say, hey, you got to know we're a startup. This could go either way. Pretty sure it's going to work. I've invested my entire life savings, and if it doesn't work, I'm screwed. But if it doesn't work, you're screwed too, and you're going to be out of a job. So you've got to know that, up front. And And I've been so lucky that the employees that we have, they understand that. They understand our mission. They know what we stand for, and they still want to come in and work with me. And I'm so blessed to have the opportunity to work with them because they're the greatest group of people. But it's definitely, it's really, really hard sometimes, and, there's always that doubt is, what if it doesn't work? And just to be, and then to finally realize that it's okay if it doesn't work, you'll figure it out. But luckily, we've come out on top so far with some of the huge mistakes that I've made. We've been able to fix them and pivot quickly enough.
And speaking of employees and that topic, there's a theory that the success of a company is not based on who you hire, but who you don't fire. In your short journey, short but powerful journey, have you hit that yet, where you had to let people go that you could
Absolutely.
see this isn't going to work?
Yep. Yeah, I've had 2 employees that I tried out and they didn't work. And it was the same thing. You try and try and try. I always give everybody 3 chances. Because everybody's got their own story behind the choices that they make and the decisions that they make. Sure. And I try not to always think that I'm right in every decision I make, because I've been wrong a lot of times. I'm wrong about almost everything every day. So I want to make sure that I give everybody a chance. But absolutely, if it doesn't work out and they're not the right fit, you got to let them go, right? Because they can bring everything else down.
Has COVID, quarantine, social distancing, has that changed, being a small business, has that changed your employees' work dynamic? And do you see that going back to the way it was, or continuing when things go back to normal? Basically talking about like remote working, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so it has changed things slightly, but we're an essential business, so we were never shut down. We did always take the stance from day one, though. We did shut down for 2 weeks, just, in the beginning in March, when everything was kind of like new and fresh. We were like, give it a couple of weeks, it's going to blow over and everything's going to be fine. So we gave everybody 2 weeks off with pay. But during that time, I assured them that no matter what happens, you will continue to get a paycheck. Whether or not you come to work, whether or not you get sick, whether or not a family member gets sick and you have to stay home, you will still receive your full pay and full benefits until we figure all of this out. So at least we can give them that little bit of security. But then after we shut down for those 2 weeks, we had realized during that time, well, this is going to happen for a while and we've got to figure this out. So we did cut back production to 4 days a week instead of 5. And we still allowed everybody the full pay, just to come in and work 4 days a week. But we have to continue production because we're a food company, and we are seeing spikes in sales with some of our retailers in some of our regions. But on the opposite side of that, we're seeing spikes in the need for donations. So even though we're selling a lot more and we're growing rapidly, we are not increasing our profitability. We're still continuing to stay true. You keep what you need to survive, and everything else gets pushed out the door. So we've been making donations to food banks that we've never donated to before, in different states. And we were able to support the school nutrition programs for New York State schools, because New York State schools and in schools across the U.S. were still providing lunches and breakfasts for the kids, even though they weren't in school. Right. And they needed more food because they didn't have the budget coming in. People weren't buying their school lunches anymore, but they still needed to provide food. So we were able to make huge donations there and do matching programs. You buy a pallet, we give you 2 pallets. Sure. We kind of got creative where we were still able to increase donations without putting ourselves out of business.
Wow. I bet you have a love-hate relationship with your accountant, don't you?
Yes.
So one thing that I wanted to note too before we leave, we have a few more minutes here, but Michele is one of our panelists at Noble 2020 2.0, which just got moved to April 8th. So super excited to have you there and have everyone else learning more about what you've learned over the past 3 or 4 years or so. So that'll be super exciting. But before you guys, any other questions you want to chop in before we?
I was just, I guess you could summarize this probably, and I'll just ask one, and you can give us a quick summary. So I'm thinking like new products, Will there be an organic line? And what are you excited about next? Like, what's next that's on the horizon?
Oh, so many things are next. I'm so excited. I own two companies. So Perfect Granola is our granola and granola bar manufacturer. I also started a company in 2018 called Perfect Foods and Manufacturing. So that's the manufacturing arm. So we produce our own single serve allergy-free line of granola products for food service. Completely brand new equipment that I designed myself. We put it into a Feeding America food bank and we produce it there with our own staff. That's our production staff there. And we do that way so then we can create a revenue stream for Feeding America that's consistent. And we are also working on expanding a workforce development training program for adults living in poverty and adults that were previously incarcerated. So we want to expand that. It was our pilot program. We started it in September. We're giving it a year just to see, like, is this actually a sustainable model? Can we do this in a Feeding America food bank? And can we provide jobs to people that really need it? It's proving to be yes on all of those. So we will be looking to expand that model into other food banks across. We're going to start with New York. We've got a couple of other Feeding America food banks here. There's one in Buffalo and one in Syracuse. So we'll see if we can expand it to that. And then we're looking to do more manufacturing. We've got a couple of trademarks and new products already developed. So we're ready to actually start producing those and go to market. We're just looking for investments in a building to be able to do that and just kind of expand on what we're doing.
Awesome.
Fantastic. Have you, this is sort of off the record and off topic, but have you had any reach out with like Tony Robbins or his team and the involvement they have in Feeding America and seeing if there's anything connection-wise and linking with that group of people? Because they're like...
I have not. No, that'd be super interesting
to look into, just 'cause, you're all about the cold call, but he just did a massive campaign with Feeding America, and he's super, super passionate about that. So maybe because of your mission, a cold call might get you someplace that, who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
The Tony Robbins crew.
It's worth trying.
Right?
Actually, I have one more kind of question conversation I think is really important that I wish I asked earlier. But so you're going to be speaking on women in entrepreneurship at our event. You are a single founder of a company, obviously women-owned, and you did mention earlier that women only get 2.5% of
2.8 was the statistic last year.
Venture capital. Yeah. So we live in an era where, empowerment of any minority is being shifted or has the ability to be shifted. Social media is allowing people to speak out, people to support. Obviously, there's always suppression here and there, but we live in a time when change can really, really happen. And people like you are a driving force behind that. Can you give 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, whatever tips you want to other young women, older women, any women who either want to further their career, want to start a business? Like, where do they go knowing that there's maybe less of a chance to get funding, less of a chance to get a promotion, at least currently in today's, climate? What are some tips that you give them?
Yeah, the tips are just go everywhere. Ask everyone. I had the opportunity to sit down with lunch with Padma Lakshmi. And one of the huge tips and takeaways from that lunch was she said, talk to the people in the room. Tell them anything they need to hear to get that check. Once you have that check, go out, spend it the way that you want, as long as there's going to be a return for that investor. But you've got to ask everybody and not be afraid of rejection, because you're going to get it, and you will get a couple of yeses along the way, but you are going to get people that say no. In fact, 2 times I had sat down for coffee with an investor, 2 different occasions, pretty much the same response from both of them. And they were white men in their, upper 60s or so. And both of them told me, I can't invest in you because you're a mom and you will never put your company first. Ooh, and I said, fair enough. I'm a mom. I'm never going to put my company above my kids. However, I'm going to teach my kids that a woman can do anything.
Did you ask him has he ever birthed a child?
You really have to. You've got to be strong enough to take that rejection and to know that you're never really going to be as viewed as one of the guys, because we're not. But on the flip side of that, it's getting a little bit better because women and minorities are now at the table of investment. And if you think about it, people want to invest in things that look and feel like themselves. And if that table does not have women and minorities at it, chances are you're probably not going to get an investment. So you really have to make sure that, once I'm in a position where I can invest, that I'm at that table and opening discussions and driving that force. Because we need more of it. We need more women and minorities leading the way and making investments in small business.
Awesome.
That's fantastic.
Well, Michele, thank you so much. You're officially my hero now. And I want to come work for you, by the way. So next full-time job you have open,
You got it.
you know where to send
I am
it.
a great sampler.
Actually, we might all just shut down No Ball and come work for you.
I am a great sampler. I'm great with people and with food, and I would love to do that one day just for fun.
All right.
While
And
playing
you know what?
saxophone.
I made a vow. My next person that I hire has to know technology because I do not understand technology, and
All right.
neither does anybody else that I've hired so far.
Al's out.
I understand it. I just screw it up a lot.
Yeah. Al's 50-50.
And you'll see why in a minute when I explain to you what you might have to do over.
All right.
ahead.
Cheers to you, Michele, to life, love, lots of laughter, and Cookie Crisp cereal, which was actually just chocolate chip cookies and milk for breakfast. Huge win.
Huge win.
Cheers, fellas. Amen.
Cheers. As always, folks, we are super appreciative to everyone who watches, who listens. Remember, you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you love to consume your content, we are there. So thank you so much, and cheers to life and business. May you prosper in both.